handling of nitrous oxide. We were concerned about what was going on at Virgin Galactic. I sent copies of the paper to various people at Virgin Galactic in 2009, and they were ignored, she said. Campbell said she outlined concerns to Virgin Galactic in a subsequent telephone conversation. Of course there's concerns, lady. You don't think they don't want the safest system out there so they don't have a disaster? You don't think they don't want dead pilots, dead astronauts? You sit back over there with your nanny state organization telling a bunch of people that are on the field how to live their lives. It's people like you that are ruining civilization. British tycoon, and I say hero, Richard Branson told reporters on the Mojave on Saturday afternoon that he'd always been Virgin's paramount concern. And now he's saying he'll go up soon. Whatever. It's just so, I'm just sick of it. Do you realize the IRS in this country arrests tens of thousands of people with no judge, no jury, no proof every year? That's the real threat. Bertrand Russell, Julian Huxley, and others, Aldous Huxley was his brother, wrote Brave New World and other books, at the United Nations. This is all public, by the way, to create a global computerized surveillance grid and to have all machines, all cars, all industry run by central computers that would then surveil and control all human activity and even be able to predict human activity by mass surveillance before it took place. Now, Google brags that they want to be a artificially intelligent crystal ball that can predict the future, and they say they can now do it to a certain extent. But imagine reading stuff written by people in the 30s, funded by the Queen of England, the King of England at the time. Remember, he wrote in 1932, Aldous Huxley, Brave New World. You read that book in 2014, a lot of it's come true. How they use pharmakia, drugs, social engineering to control the population. But then you merge that with kind of a 1984 scenario, and then you add to that a Terminator-type scenario with Skynet, and you've got where they're going. And Huxley wrote Brave New World Revisited in 61 before he died, gave a speech in 62. We've aired in full here on the radio at Berkeley. It's online. It's an hour long. Where he laid all this out. See, people used to hear me 15 years ago say there's an MIT Department of Transportation plan, and it's also in Europe, to tax you by the mile and to track everywhere you go with GPS wireless systems. Now, for at least 6 years, but it's been in for about 10 most places, from Australia to Germany, from England to the United States to Canada, all cars have a tracker box in them, and it was in CBS News last week. They're about to set, in fact, it already started last year, actually, 2013. The tests have come in from Chicago, Austin, New York, D.C., 10 test cities. They've already got them in Europe as well. They're going, oh, the results are great. We're going to start taxing you by the mile. And Time Magazine came out and said time to ban drivers, and said by 2024, all driving will be illegal. Only robots will drive you. They're safer, they're better. We'll use insurance actuaries to charge you so much you can't afford to drive, and we'll bankrupt you, and only the richest people will be able to drive. Do you understand the level of the social engineering? This is 1,000 times past making you get on trains or buses. And it's all public. And listen, if you're a listener or you've passively listened to me, I had 100 affiliates back in like 2000. I went down to as low as like 40 affiliates when I said 9/11 was an inside job when nobody else would. I've gone back up to about 180 affiliates now. People have been listening to me for years, tens of millions. Matt Drudge says in tweets he listens to this show over other shows. In the top 20 of Talkers Magazine. I'm not bragging, I'm saying it's a big show. So you've basically already heard me say this 10 years ago. Some of you heard me say it 15 years ago. My first 5 years on air, I was like a Ron Paul. Let's audit the Fed. Let's lower taxes. Mainline libertarian Republican. And then my listeners educated me. And I would laugh at them. There's no black helicopters. Fluoride isn't bad for you. My dad's a dentist. GMO's good for you. That's a bunch of leftists that don't want to feed the world. Until I got educated. And the last 15 years has been just over the top. It's so hardcore, ladies and gentlemen, what's going on. It's so horrible. But if we would just wake up to it, we could turn it around so quickly. I don't get up here and say these wild things to be sensational. I say them because it's true. They're building a world where we're not part of it. They're phasing humans out. It was announced in 1999 in the April issue of Wired magazine by Bill Joy, a billionaire, who went to a private globalist conference of 200 top tech owners. Google, Microsoft, Amazon, Apple. And they had a meeting and decided after 2 days that the plan was to bring in the world government and reduce population down to almost zero. They said, do we just let people play games all day, you know, fantasy games, World of Warcraft and Second Life, and hurt the earth? Or if these people don't matter, do we basically phase them out? And the consensus was phase you out. And Bill Joy wrote a cover story warning you. The decision had been made. And how does Newsweek and 60 Minutes and Time Magazine and the MSNBC and CNN and Nightline, how do they respond? Alex Jones is crazy. I had the host of ABC News here 4 years ago when Nightline was here, and I went to dinner with him to a steakhouse afterwards. And he said, there's no world government during the interviews. And I went and said, here is world leaders calling for global government. And he said, they mean a different global government than you. I showed him the British Prime Minister, the U.S. President, the head of the EU, Van Rompuy, calling for global government, saying 2007 will be the first year, 2008 with global governance. It was a few years old. And he just looked at me and he said, that's a different world government. And then at dinner, he just said, yeah, I know you're basically telling some stuff that's true, but I got kids, I got a job, I got a career. What are you going to do anyways? And it's always the same story. The public is, and it's true, is so dumbed down. How do you even turn this around? How do you even change it when you can't even reach out to the public? Well, you know what? 5% won the war against the British Empire. 5% defeated that tyranny. It doesn't take a majority. That's why I'm so sick of Barack Obama demonizing our founding fathers, the Democratic Party saying they own slaves. Do you realize whether it was the caste system in Japan or India or Africa or the Middle East or Russia, all the people were basically serfs, slaves. That's what serf means, is slave. It's a Latin derivation. But to create guilt in the Christian Western culture that ended slavery worldwide, they didn't say, oh, great, the West ended slavery. Oh, great, the Founding Fathers almost passed ending slavery in 1776, but couldn't get the votes from the South. Civil War was just an extension of that fight. They tell you that only America owned slaves. How many thousands of movies and TV shows? That's why Ben Stein's come out and said Obama is the most racist president in history. I got that clip coming up after calls. And it's true because they promote everything on race, because while the mega banks are tax exempt and get banker bailout money by the trillions and lobby to raise our taxes, and all the big banks openly lobby to take our guns and bring in this tyranny, they want us fighting with each other over what color we are. I went and ate at a nice restaurant Wednesday night on East 6th Street, a gentrified area, and had somebody try to mug us. Basically said, give me money. I'm real mad and bowed up. And I just said, listen, we're not going to give you money. And it was a black guy doing it to us. And then one of my crew members went out Saturday, almost got mugged downtown by people pulled out knives that were going to kill you, whitey. I don't hate black people because there's a bunch of racist black people out attacking whites. But see, the media won't cover it because it's political correctness. And they've so energized some black folks with hatred, they believe it's okay to go out and attack whites. You can't even go into downtown Austin, basically anywhere. I want to warn everybody. You just go out, you will deal with black Ku Klux Klan people, basically. InfoWarsLife.com. Check it out today. I have set out to bring you the most hardcore, cutting-edge supplements and nutraceuticals, bar none. And that's what you'll find at InfoWarsLife.com. We have rejected literally hundreds of products from the InfoWars Life line because they are not of the very highest quality, or because they're not 100% organic, or because they don't pass all of the strictest toxicology tests there are that we have listed at InfoWarsLife.com. Whether it's Survival Shield Nascent Iodine or DNA Force, Super Male Vitality, vitality, super female vitality, lung cleanse, fluoride shield, oxy powder. I believe that all of these products will blow you away like they've done the thousands of other customers that have visited InfoWarsLife.com and believed in us and tried the products. Folks, check out InfoWarsLife.com today and the entire line of groundbreaking, cutting-edge, hardcore products.